Good morning and welcome to Cyber and Security. This is Java with Josh. I am Josh Mason, your host this morning, and I would like to welcome you to the community and welcome you to this stream. This is the debut stream for Java with Josh, and let's get things started right. In Cyber and Security, we want to help you start and build your cybersecurity career, your IT career. And with that, we have streams almost every day now. Tuesday evenings are with Brent, PhD in computer science, teaching Python. Wednesdays, we have Brandon going over some cybersecurity topics. I'm going to be covering Thursday mornings, and Jack Reedy, my boss at INE, is going to be doing Tipsy Cyber. I think he is switching things up a little bit, but Friday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. Also, Neil Bridges is going to be jumping in there with some things, and I think after a little bit of time, he's probably going to hop back in for some regular streams once we get some things set up. I also wouldn't be surprised if we get someone teaching some cloud and perhaps a CISO or two doing a regular thing on this stream. But stay tuned for that. What we're going to do this morning is go over some of the penetration testing student labs on INE. Sorry, if you hear roosters or dogs in the background or little kids, that's going to happen. Fortunately, INE gave me this really great mic, and it does a pretty good job of blocking all of that out. I have my moderators with me, and if for any reason you do make any racist, political, misogynistic comments, expect to get a timeout or a ban. We at Cyber and Security trust our moderators explicitly. If you need to follow up with them at all and ask why you got banned or why you got timed out, meet them over on Discord. And Chris, thank you. Looks like we got Streamlabs up. So throw in that exclamation point Discord to get a link to our Discord channel. You can also do exclamation point INE, and that will get you set up over here for the starter pass. We're going to do this live together. I have taught live for almost 4 years now, and I love teaching live. I'm going to need some feedback from you. So if you do have questions, help out my moderators, throw a Q, and at the beginning of your question, only ask your question once, just so we don't spam out chat. But ask your question once, throw a Q in there, and my moderators will bring it over into our queue for me, so I don't have to look all over the place. Don't expect me to reply in chat. I am not watching chat. It's too complicated. Got too many monitors here. So go over to INE, get the starter pass. If you already have the starter pass, then let's log into my INE. Should look something like this. And it probably looks more like this when you get started. With the starter pass, you get access to a couple neat pathways in here, but you get access to the full penetration testing student pathway. And that's been going on for over a year now. And I'll tell you, myself and Alexi Ahmed have been updating this course, adding a lot of content, a lot of videos, and dozens and dozens and dozens of labs. I'll probably cover more of those later, but we've got 3 different courses inside this pathway. We'll go through the penetrations testing prereqs. So if you've been able to follow along, get to this point, and I'll talk a little bit in here. There's some videos. There's this connecting to your first lab. That's a little outdated, especially since we now have something neat that the acquisition of Pentester Academy brought to INE. It is a fully functional lab inside the browser. So you don't need a fancy attack box. You don't need to fight setting up and maintaining VMs. You don't need to worry about VPNs. You can just come in here, start the lab, hit start lab, and it's going to set up a VM for your attack box, VM for your targets, and we can see what it looks like here. This is our network, and we're going to use Guacamole and remote desktop right into this Kali Linux box on this network. We'll look a little bit at these two websites. We've got demo.ini.local and demo.ssl.ini.local, and we'll get into those. So I'll give you all a little bit of time to catch up. I am going to cheat and look over at chat. Does anyone have any questions up to this point? How to get started, how to get to where we're at now? Yeah, because like they were quiet up until like a minute ago, or when we started. Nice. Yeah, John Doe. I'm gonna call you John Doe because that's your username on here. I actually got to take my goats tomorrow to get them pregnancy tests. That's always fun. So I started this lab, and you can see it's been running now for a minute. If I hit open lab, it's going to open a new tab. I will share this tab. And I'm using Brave, so it asked me if I want to give it permission for copy paste to the clipboard. I do. That is helpful. And now we've got a full up Kali VM that we're already beat into through Guacamole. Hey, Cyber Canadian. Already saw you early this morning. Hope you got some sleep. We have full functionality in here. These machines are sandboxed. So if I open the browser and try to browse the internet, it's not going to go anywhere. But it is properly networked. So we've got this ETH1, and it's a 192.168.109.2. Let's take a look at what's out here on this network. Saturday 24. And we'll just do an SN. Just have it go really fast. There should only be our two machines, and I should have known that was going to happen. We've got .3 and .4. But I kind of already know that because it told me it's demo.ini.local. We've also got demo ssl.ini.local. So going to nmap both of those. There goes pretty fast. That one. Our demo.ini.local is our 192.21.109.3, and it has port 80 open and 3306, which we didn't do a service scan. So this is just showing what the best guess is of the services. Kane, if you throw a Q in front of that, it'll get picked up by the guys. I'll do AMA type stuff near the end, but let's try to keep questions to this. If you want it, ask it. I probably just won't get to it until later. Just kind of stay on topic. So I'm using Nmap. I did a TAC-SN, and what that showed initially was it did a ARP and then a ping scan across the network, and just utilizing ARP and then ICMP to see if any of the machines on the network were responding. And we got back that yes, the 109.3 and 109.4 were responding, and all the others did not respond. So it's showing host down. This is a fairly typical way of scanning a network to see if any machines are available. If I go too simple, sorry, I'm just going to assume that I am teaching you from the beginning. If you do have questions about specific things, do ask those in chat so I can cover them. If you've already gone through the slides and the videos and you're good to go, awesome. Hang out and help the others. But knowing that we've got these ports open, so I ran another Nmap scan, and what that did is it both pinged and looked for the machines, and then it also did a TCP Connect scan, not TCP Connect, just did a TCP SYN scan to see what would respond to that TCP handshake. And we got port 80 and 3306. Both of those ports responded that they were open. The way that works is part of the TCP handshake, three-way handshake. Whoever starts the connection sends a SYN flag, a synchronize. It's, hey, I'm trying to connect to you and we are synchronizing. We're starting with this number. If we lose the conversation, you'll know because we started at this number and we'll build up from there. The other machine goes, okay, SYNAC. It says, hey, I'm going to start at this number and we'll go from there. And I'm also acknowledging your message. And then the initial guy says ACK. It's like a, hi, my name's Chris. Hi, my name's Bob. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. That's how I always think of it. And when you get that, you also can get some extra information. So what we'll do now is we'll complete that. When we make that connection, most services also send at least a banner. And that banner usually says what the service is, what the version is, and a bunch of information like that. Sorry. Dogs going crazy. Roosters are going crazy. Hopefully the mic's not ruining it all. So we'll do the same scan, and I'll just do attack S capital V. And what that's going to do is do that full connection and a banner grab and see what true services are out here. So this is running HTTP with Apache HTTPD 2.4.7 on Ubuntu. And the MySQL server is running 5547 also on Ubuntu. That makes sense. And we could do the same thing. I'll just do it this way for demo SSL. While it's going. Okay, so Midori, okay, Hack the Box, I can answer that while this is kind of going, is a just open lab platform. There is not a video and content and lab pathway currently. Hack the Box Academy is pretty neat, but it's also, I think, limited. INE, we have built out a full plan that takes you from beginner all the way to you should be prepared for a penetration test. Working for Neil and Jack, who, if you've been around this channel for a while, you know them and their backgrounds. I've also got Alexi, who has been running his own penetration testing company for 7 years and has been making videos and content as Hackersploit on YouTube and Udemy and Hackersploit Academy for about 7 years. One of the OG YouTube hacker teachers. So we're making sure that by the time you get EJPT, Alexi would hire you to be a junior penetration tester. That is our goal. I'm not going after ICCA. I have CISP. I would not do ICCA. I'm not going to waste time on that. I might grab CASP. I'll get more of that later. SANS is expensive. If someone will pay for SANS, I'll do it, but I'm not paying for it myself. So here we get back on demo SSL. Port 80 is open with the same Apache server, but 443 is also open, showing SSL and HTTP. So this is similar software, but configured for your secure connection. We've also got the MySQL server running. This is very much the exact same machine, just configured differently to be secure. Ever since 2017, HTTPS has been the standard across the internet. So running into something that's only running HTTP is likely an internal web server or something very poorly configured. Even like a Wix or a Squarespace is automatically going to do HTTPS. So, yeah. All right, now, Dev. I'll get to that one later. So, I just made a video about this last night for the intro to web. When we say that there is a web server running, you're probably used to the internet and websites. Like, that's how you got here, right? At the basic core, a website or a web is just a server serving up files that can be interpreted by your browser. And there's some basic files, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And those are served up by a server with these services running, in this case, Apache. And so our browser queries that server with a request, and then it's going to send back a response. And if you're requesting content, it's also going to respond and give you that content. So what does that look like? We'll go here to demo.ini.local. One of the first things I look for when I see that port 80 is open is, what does the website look like? Just, you can put in the IP address, you can put in the fully qualified domain, for example, 192.109.3. You're going to bring up the same page. It's the same thing. Like I said, this is the website. We are using OWASP because great open source content. They've created platforms where you can easily show off how to do these attacks. They're very bug free. They work really well, and there's no reason not to use them. They're open source. Could you do it on your own? Sure. But then you have to spin up your VMs. You'd have to spin up 2 VMs, an attack machine or a target machine as well. And if you're brand new to all of this, I'm just happy you made it here. Like, your expectation of having a VM, having a machine, and knowing how to VPN in and maintain your own Linux, that's all good and dandy. That's great. Do it. But we don't want that to be a hindrance to you learning. That's why we have these web labs. So you can see here, the source is this HTML document. And if you don't know HTML, it's really fairly simple to learn and understand. We've got some links to the CSS and a link to the JavaScript. And that creates the functionality, the user experience, and the GUI, the UI for your website. And the HTML is kind of the frame that all that is around. And HTML5 is great. There's a lot of that UI experience and functionality baked into it, but JavaScript and CSS just adds a little more. This file here is actually a file. This is a PHP file, works with Apache. That's the file type that Apache uses. It is also a language, useful to learn. Probably get into that in the next course in Pentesting Professional. Probably for local file inclusion, one of my favorites. But what it does is it tells the service, okay, what assets to combine and send with a request. So bundles all this up to send it to us. We'll That's all good and dandy. But what else is in here? So we have this login, we've got an info page, there's a blog. Blog takes us external. With this login, we can go and it gives us our credentials, bnbug. And with that, it takes us to the portal where you can change passwords and create users. And as you look up here, you see that there are the obviously URL changes, but these are different files off of the main directory. So what does that actually kind of look like? Let's do a curl of http uh, demo.ini.local with a tag b. So curl is, hey Dev, thanks for that. See you later, man. Curl is going to use the same functionality that your browser does, just in the command line. In this situation, it sent a GET request and it sent it to the root directory because it just gave it the domain. We didn't give it a specific URL location in the domain. The host being demo.ini.local, and it even knows our user agent is curl. And what we get back as a response is this 302. 302 is a redirect. You don't have to memorize these. Like, you learn them over time or you can Google it. It's fairly straightforward. And it tells us that the new location is portal.php. So going to demo.ini.local redirects us to portal.php. So if we did that same thing to portal.php, then we actually get different information back. This one is then going to send to login.php because it doesn't have login credentials. Kind of neat stuff there. I'm going to follow that rabbit hole because it shows us something neat. If we go to login.php, our request was a GET request, and we get back a 200 OK. And it even tells us, it gives us all of this HTML. This is the file. This is that same file that we see here. See, same information. Except your terminal doesn't know what to do with it except show the information. The browser actually knows how to make it look beautiful and functional. Let me take a sec and see what you're talking about. I don't know, Dev. Shondo, you could do open ports. I don't know. It works fine without it. It's a default. No, this isn't Pentester Labs. This is INE. Use Uzumaki Uchiha asked, is this provided by Pentester Labs? It is provided by INE. It is the penetration testing student. And if you put in exclamation point INE, you'll get access to the Starter Pass. You can get a free account and access all of this for free. And B Bryce, out of the Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, INE, which do you feel is the best place to start for a complete noob? Do penetration testing student, use Hack the Box and Try Hack Me to add any additional information. This is a fully built out pathway. There are fully built out pathways on Hack the Box, from pre-security all the way from complete beginner and the pen tester. It's great. I have my high schoolers at Flint Hill at their cyber club. I'm a mentor there. They're on Hack the Box as the whole school, or not Hack the Box, on Try Hack Me. Their school has a full account where I can track where all the students are. I can give them assignments through any of those, and they get the full functionality and the unlimited attack box. But they've also got VM set up by Mike at the school, who's amazing. It's good. This is like fully thought out, videos for everything, walkthroughs of all the labs, and it's designed to make you a penetration tester. The others are good too. I like them, but big fan of this one. The web environment, or this lab environment, is something that Pen Tester Academy had, and their attack defense labs are the same functionality. We were able to migrate all of our ELS labs out of Hera, which was it's on-prem on a server. If you've been trying to connect to any labs and had issues with VPNs in like the last month with INE, it's because we had mechanical failures at that server farm. Now using AWS and CloudFront, you can pick whichever region you want, whatever works the best for you, and have much more responsive connections without having to worry about your VPN dropping or the environment failing on you. These are really, really stable. All right, back to what we were doing. So we logged in. I kind of want to demo the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. I'm going to do that with Wireshark. Any questions about the basics of web and HTTP that I went through here? Kind of went through it quickly. We're going to use ETH1 because that's our connection for all this stuff. I just pick the interface, hit the blue fin, it starts recording, and I'm actually going to close this and start a new session to really get it right. So I'll do demo.ini.local. Closing it and restarting the session. I drop all my cookies for this one. So I'm already logged out. If I log in, bnbug, this is the real difference. We can come over to Wireshark. I'm going to stop the capture. What Wireshark does is it listens over whatever interface you give it, goes into promiscuous mode, and just collects all the traffic crossing that interface. And they're packets going across the network. So it grabs the packets and it displays them here. And this right here, we've got, what's it showing currently? TCP packet. And you can see based on your layers. So it's a frame, you got your interface ID. This is ETH1. Encapsulation type is Ethernet. So it goes by layers from frame to Ethernet with your MAC addresses, your IPs, all the way through your transport layer. There we go. And in here, you can even break down and see what flags got sent. So it said a SYN to start the connection. You've got your source, your destination. You can even throw in here columns. I like to do it columns for your ports, but you can see them right here. It's an ephemeral port from .2, our machine on 49.540 to port 80, the web server on .3. That's our demo.ini.local. And this time is all relative. Right now, it's showing just time from start. You could go in here and set, I like to set UTC date and time of day. Control-Alt-7, if you will. Time display format, and take it down to seconds, because unless we're doing like an investigation where you need to really hone in, seconds are usually accurate enough. You can also do name resolution. Right now, it's only doing physical addresses. If I do network addresses, then boom, we get INE and target one. It resolves those, which is kind of neat. You can even do port resolution, your transport addresses. So it'll say, hey, we're connecting to HTTP. It's kind of neat. To clean it up, I'm going to turn those off. Yes, the updated PTS is going to have a whole course on Wireshark, web, all of this. I've recorded them. They are being processed. It's coming soon. It's going to be a whole bundled thing. That's why it's waiting. But we've been working on it for like almost 8 months now. So we've got these packets. What you can do, if you right click, you get on to follow, and you can follow the TCP stream. This is a conversation, right? It sent a SYN flag. It got back a SYNAC, and eventually got to this point where it sent a GET request. It got 302 redirect to portal.php, and the browser automatically sent a new GET request to portal.php. It followed that redirect. It got a new redirect to login.php. And then when it sent to login.php, it got back a 200 OK and the website. And it requested images, and it got back images.png. It's a PNG file. Kind of neat. All of the assets that come along with that get sent through binary data like images or videos. Looks like gobbledygook, but at least you get the header showing you that it's a PNG. You can also see that it said it was a PNG that was sent in your content type. Kind of neat. So you can follow the whole conversation between the two machines, looking at each individual packet as they're going across. Because it's HTTP, it's clear text. There's no encryption anywhere. So you straight up just see exactly what is included. Usually that's not horrible. What is not great, I'm going to clear this filter. We're going to do frame contains. I logged in and I used B and bug. And this one looks for b1.png. That's great. What I want is this post. All the GET requests are getting like get, send me a file, send me a file. Post says, hey, there's a way to send information. So what I'm going to do is post some values and then get different information. So I post a username and password, and I get back a page that is now logged in and authenticated. So let's take a look at what that looks like. We can follow the HTTP stream. It looks very similar. And right here, we have the login of B and password of bug, and even security level of 0. And if you had the ability to listen in on like a span port, or you're on a network where there's a lot of HTTP traffic and you can just go promiscuous and see other traffic between machines and the switch, you can intercept all this. If you're doing an external or an internal pen test and you just sit there and turn on Wireshark or TCP dump or T-Shark, the command line version of Wireshark, and just collect a whole bunch of information, you could get logins if people aren't using encrypted protocols. So what does it look like if it is encrypted? I will start this over. Let's now go to mossl.ini.local. And it's going to start with the HTTP. And you can see here it went to HTTPS. We get this little lock. It says connection secure. Like, why is it secure? Let's click on more information. And it says there is a certificate verified by Internet Widgets P2I Ltd. And expires in 2026. Okay, cool. So this is a made-up certificate, obviously. But it has the fingerprint and the public key. And this tells us that, hey, you can go and check out and see, yeah, these certificates are good. You are secured. Neat. What does that Again, what does that really mean? Well, let's log in here with B and bug. We're logged in, and this page looks very much the same. It's the same sort of information, still that portal page. But what was different? I'm going to stop the capture. We have some traffic back and forth, eventually a GET request. Let's look at that one. So went to demo ssl.ini.local, got a 302 found that's sent to a redirect to HTTPS demo ssl.ini.local. And it says, this is a whole page. It just redirected really fast, so we didn't even see it. The document is moved, and it gives a link to the HTTPS site. See that? So then, after that, we get a new connection. Oh, let's go back. Then we see this traffic going from our machine to 443. Let's take a look at that one. Follow that TCP stream. This one is all encrypted. So this doesn't look like much. The only strings that are in here that were readable were this demo ssl.ini.local. And you can see, hey, Internet Widgets P2I Ltd. That was the authentication of the certificate and some of your certificate information in here. And then the rest of this is encrypted. Wireshark doesn't know how to put it back together in a way that makes sense. That's why it's just weird characters. And you can see in there demo SSL ini.local. But now there's no B bug. Let's take a look. Let's clear this filter. Do another frame contains B. And there's the GET request, the 302, and shouldn't be able to see anything with clear text of B. And that's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. A little bit of a Wireshark and a little introduction to web. How's everyone doing? How are you all liking this? Thanks, Chris. Let's give it up for my moderator today, Chris Frazier. So that's the end of this lab. Once we identify that, hey, everything's now encrypted, we're done there. And we can just close the tab and it popped back over to me. Should switch tabs first. Let's share this one again. So we can just stop our lab. I'll wait until it finishes going. B. Bryce, did that answer your question? I like Ini. It's free. It's all put together. There is nothing in this pathway that is paywalled. The certification is solid. It's practical. It requires you to do everything that's included in these labs. So if you're following along as the guy who teaches this stuff goes through the labs that prepare you perfectly for the exam, I'll leave the rest up to you. And I'll just keep doing this for a couple weeks until we go through all the labs. How's that sound? This one is fun. So If you want to learn about protocols, IP, some routing, link layer, TCP, UDP, firewalls, go do it. It's great stuff. I've done it in videos. I'm not going to do it in videos here. Unfortunately, we're going to spend this time going through the labs, and I will teach along the way. If you haven't noticed, that's what we're doing. Is anyone else following along in the labs? You guys got labs open? I know I'm cheating. I'm looking at the chat. It is a fun cert. Wait for that countdown. There's no worrying about downloading a VPN file and logging into that. I know there's great functionality there. I like that about Hack the Box. When you're playing around and you want to use a new tool for the same thing, that can be great. This is built for specific training to train and teach concepts and practical ideas, not as a playground. Now, that might be coming additionally. Get up for that. And that'll probably have VPN access. Currently, EJPT is still VPN in. I've made a video showing how to use that VPN. It is actually at the end of the penetration testing student pathway. The labs still take a little bit of time, but the updated exam is going to be using it web attack box as well. And I know that's really annoying for some people. You get used to your own tools. If you are used to your own tools and you're doing EJPT, you're going to kill it. Okay. You're good. It's, again, this course is made for brand new people who don't know anything, so they can get to the point so they can just know things without having to worry about all those boundaries. Is it important to learn how to set up your own VM? Sure. Is it hard? No. Should you have to go through that haggle every time you want to learn a specific skill? No. So that's why we have this. If you want to practice, there's places to go practice. And we're, again, working on that too. But for the exam, you're going to have a fully operational Kali machine with like dozens of tools to do everything you want to do. So there's not really like a limiter there. And for exploits, you'll have the whole search split database in there as well. I know people have worried about being able to take notes. You can take notes on your computer. Use something like Joplin that syncs across anything, and then you can have those notes in your personal attack VM that you use in other places too, or for other exams. Whatever, go for it. I don't know why the roosters are right underneath my window. It's really annoying. I am with you, BSEC. Waiting on that was the most painful part about this. And we're in. How do you know if you're a hacker if you don't say we're in on a daily basis? Okay, in this one, we have and I'll show this tab again. We have our attack box. We're going to be over here 10.175.34.140. And there's a switch and a router, and then 3 more switches and 3 different servers. And we're going to be able to see one of the servers. It's going to be on the same network as this. It tells us don't attack the gateways. They're the .1s. And we want to get to 172 or these. We want to get to these servers. Now, The way we're going to do that, let's look at where we're at. Almost all this is going to be in terminal. So just screen this terminal, and it's full color. It's Kali. It's Z Shell. It's just like you like. It's 2022, and this is a very up to date version of Kali, and it's going to match the videos because we're using the same attack box that you're using for going through the labs. So there's no like, oh hey, what I'm using is different than what you're teaching. I don't know. As an instructor, I've been teaching for a while, and I find that to be very, very helpful. Let's take a look at our root table. Right now, we've got on ETH1 this 10, 175, 34, 140. ETH2 is not showing any roots right now. And first machine that we want to go to, go back to my instructions and the tasks. I am trying to find a way to get these instructions inside the VM so that you can just pull them up inside the same window. We're working on it. There's a lot that's being worked on. I want the 172, 16, 88, 81. So that's where we're going to go first. 172, 16, 88.0 is through the gateway 10, 175, 34, 1. So I should be able to ping this 172, 16, 88.81. I'm getting returns. So I am connected to that. It's an nmap of machine. And it is hosting a website. Awesome. When it's hosting a website, we want to check it out in the browser. Stupid rooster. If the rooster didn't protect the hens, we wouldn't be keeping them around. Okay, cool. So I can reach this page. I have accessibility to it. That is good. Apparently, there is also, if we go back to the instructions, there's going to be a website on 192.168.241.12. Let's see if we can reach that. Okay, I can reach that one as well. Well, let's see why. I mean, I know why. You can see in my root, I'm also connected to 192.168.24 or 241.0. So I'm also part of that network. The router is giving me access to both of those, and it's the same router. And it is also hosting on HTTP. Now, what we're not going to be able to access is the 192.168.222 199. Because we didn't have a root for that network. So we're unable to connect. Right? There's no 198. Or rather, 192.168.222. Try to ping that one. See how it's different. It's on the 222 instead of the 241. And these are because of the subnet mask. That third octet matters. So if I try to ping this, I get no returns. Sent 6 packages requesting an echo and got nothing back. So I can't reach that one. Someone was just asking me about this last night in Discord of I want to reach something, but I don't know how. Well, we do know the router. Our router is the 10.175.34.1. This guy. If we went back and looked at the instructions, I'll share that. It shows us the router. It shows us that there is a router. It doesn't say what the router is. We saw that when we looked at route. So if then we add a route through that router, command is IP, and then route add. And what we're trying to connect to, this network, the 222 network, via 34.1. Okay? Everyone following along? And if we add that route, then we can look at our route table. So many chickens. This is the chicken channel. If that bothers anyone, I'm so sorry. But their eggs are really good. Okay, yeah, BSEC, it could be turned off. In this case, I know it's... When I went to try to browse there, it also wasn't able to connect, so... You're not wrong. Now that we can connect, or now that it shows up on the route table, that 222, let's try it again in here. Oh, come on. Okay, I ping it now. I just hit up a couple times. Ping 199 and it connects through. It worked this time. Yay, and that's the challenge. The challenge was adding the route. So adding the route, whatever. Yeah, English language. Both are correct. And that's the tricky part here, is understanding what you're trying to reach and how you add it. So how else could you use this? Say you had a packet capture and you know that traffic went from a network that you can see to a network that you can't see. When you run route, that second network doesn't show up in your table. Well, if you know what the gateway IP address is, you do IP add route, the subnet that you want to connect to via that router. And then you should be able to connect through. Then it's now added. You are now part of it. I think last weekend someone didn't pass their EJPT. I saw their support ticket, and this might be why. So just, yeah, don't be that guy. So that's 2 labs down. I've thought about guinea fowl, but they're loud. They're really loud. Do you think these guys are loud? As long as I'm not live on the internet, they're really quiet. So when I'm back in here actually trying to do something, they hang out right underneath my window. They've got a whole acre to hang out on. and I can see them. They're just sitting right there. So how's everyone feeling? It's only been an hour. We've done 2 labs. Has it made sense so far? Anyone lost? Take a question from Joe 2320. As a beginner, how many hours a day should I put in? It depends on what you can do. Like, I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, goats and chickens, and a full-time job, and I want to do other things, like I'm building cabinet doors and remodeling a bathroom. And for me, like, I recently did the AWS Cloud Practitioner, and for that I'd spend maybe an hour to anywhere between like 1 hour a day to 4 hours a day, because I just like knocked out a lot of practice tests a couple of those days, and I passed it, and I studied for like 2 weeks. So it depends. What can you do? I had been teaching a lot of this stuff, not this exact stuff, for Dasita, and had made an account, but hadn't really gone through too much of this, because I was like, okay, I know what that is. So I hadn't read all the stuff before through PTS, and then made that lab a year ago, worked with Lola. Lola was like, I want to take EJPT. I had seen what Lily said, and Lily said, do all the labs and you'll pass EJPT. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do that. And so Lola said, hey, let's do it this weekend. I was like, sweet, let's do it. I went out, bought my voucher, did all those labs that week, kind of at this pace, actually a little faster, because I didn't have to explain anything. I just did it. And after a week, I studied and was able to pass EJPT. But I'd also learned how to do this stuff back in 2016 when the Air Force taught me. So data exfiltration. And I was teaching it full time. BSEC, you don't have EJPT? Okay. We're going to make a channel. Oh, there is. There is a success channel. Everyone go in there, put the date that you're going to get your next certificate. And we're going to hold each other accountable, and we're going to knock it out. For me, Azure Cloud is my next goal. It might be CASP. We'll get to that later. I don't need it, but there's a thing that's coming through. But probably Azure. I really do want to get that one. Put what you're looking for. We'll hold each other accountable. We'll set dates, and let's try to knock things out and like study together and hit them at the same time. Also, if you want to get EJPT and you want to be part of this and you want me to keep going through these labs until you get there, I got to know. So get on Discord, !Discord, and get in study text and let us know that you want to keep studying these. This is the data exfiltration lab. And sorry, I'll go back out a little bit. This talks a little bit more about DNS, a little more on Wireshark and using Wireshark, some videos, full stack analysis with Wireshark. It's not bad. And we get to the data exfiltration lab. In this one, learn how you can use a simple HTTP server in Python for exfiltration. So we will play with a little Python. Not really. We're just going to use a command that utilizes Python and get information back. We've got our attack box, a switch, and demo.ini.local. It says you need some Python scripting. It's not necessarily true. Just hit the I believe for now, if you're cool with that. And a little bit of curl. I will explain what the Python is doing if you want. And sorry, should have started my lab before. This one's simple. It doesn't have 4 switches and a router and 3 victim machines. So it should start up pretty quickly. 20 seconds. Yeah, be like, let's knock that out. Hey, Stuns. Taking a coffee break. Coffee break with Josh. I don't know. If you guys convince me, I'll start doing tea as well. We can call it tea with a hacker. But I like to think of myself as a cybersecurity professional or cyber warfare officer. Okay, this guy is ready. Let's open the lab. IPA, see who we are. 192.190.73.2. Neat. We know that there is a demo.ini.local. It told us, and it's up. Let's nmap demo.ini.local. And hey, it's got HTTP on 8000. If you see HTTP, pull up a browser. Demo.ini.local. Let's see if it resolves. It doesn't resolve. Let's go to port 8000. All right, secure connection failed. Let's get rid of that S. Ooh, command parameter required. Okay. About command equals, who am I? Bummer. Wait. Question mark? There we go. So we have a web shell. We have a website that allows us to send. Again, it looked for a command, and you send variables to a URL with a question mark, whatever the variable name is, and what value you want that variable to hold. So, I'm assuming this is looks like Linux because it responded. We can do the same thing, port 8000 and SV. This should go quickly. Yep, it's using WorkZoog on HTTP, and oh, okay, it's just Python server, Python web shell. What? Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Sorry about that, guys. Let me go back. I did IPA, got this information, pinged it. Did it not update? Give it a second. It's just the lag between Restream and YouTube. Okay, it's up now. So it's got port 8000 open. We looked here. I feel silly. What it looked like on its own was command parameter required. So I use a question mark to pass a variable, make the command CMD because it says CMD parameter required. Passed one, and I passed ls. It tells me there's flag.zip and tools in here. CB Bryce. So we have access to that through the web interface, but it's kind of clunky. It's not amazing. What we could do, let's see if we do a tag L. We get full access there. We can see what tools we have access to through this web shell. And let's see if we have curl. We do. I did curl attack H to get the help page, and it showed all that. So we can utilize curl through this web shell. So what this wants me to do, okay, is upload a reverse shell. I'm going to show you something. We've got this basic web shell right here, or this little reverse shell through Python. And I'll bring it in. I copied it. Great thing we can do here is copy things in. And I have a text editor. I'll put it here and then explain what's going on. So yeah, teach a little bit of Python. It's not going to be like Brent's Python. This is Josh Hacker Python. You got a shebang line that tells Bash what program to utilize here. So it says, hey, this is a Python script. Use user bin Python to interpret and use the rest of this. We import a couple of libraries, the simple HTTP server and the base HTTP server. And we're then going to use from the simple HTTP server a handler. You don't have to figure this out. There are plenty of places to see where to get a reverse Python shell. And this is one version. It's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's going to work here. It does work here. And what it'll do is it'll basically open up a listener that we can reach out to. So let's save that. And I'll just put it in root and call it shell.py. And then let's come in here. We can ls, see that shell.py is there. We can cat shell.py. We can nano shell.py. Copied it in there. That also works. Vim's harder to copy into, but it's doable. Am I sharing the right tab? Not sharing the right tab. Keep doing that. Sorry about that, guys. Copied it in here. We got a shebang. Simple server, base server. It creates a server that now listens. It's saved over here as shell.py. You can look at it there. You could look at it in Nano and copy it that way. What we want to do is get shell.py over onto the other machine. Or is this a really complicated way of creating just a server? Oh, it wants me to run this as a server. That's silly. So Python tag m, simple HTTP server on 80. You don't need to create one. It's there. We are now serving up on our own port 80 this folder. So let's show what that looks like. Localhost. Bam. You can now see this is the same directory listing as what I have in my terminal. On root, run ls tag a. All those things are also all of these things. So I made a web server with Python serving up all of that. That's all we're doing. So then we're going to have the other machine send us a command to our web server. Our web server will accept a put, or in the case of curl and upload file, it'll do the same thing. So http demo.ini.local 8000 question mark, and then our command is curl our attack machine. So curl is now going to reach back to our attack machine and upload from itself flag.zip. So let's look at our server. Let's send this command. It's thinking. Okay, it doesn't like mine. I get it. Okay. Use Python shell.py. We use their server. Cancel that. Try this again. Oh, I got it. That's also not going to work. I totally prepped this one. This one is kind of just to demonstrate how you can extract files. So you might not see it in the updated version. There are better ways of exfiltrating data. Alexi's got like several labs showing how to do it. This should work. Oh. Okay. RIP. That's why. Had the wrong IP address. Put that there. Oh. Correct IP addresses help a lot. Now let's see. We're serving up on port 80, doing a curl request to upload flag.zip. I do it. It sent it. You can see there. Gonna stop my Python, run an ls, and I now have flag.zip. Zip flag.zip. Move into flag and cat flag.tag text. So using a web shell, was able to curl upload to my own HTTP server. And if I do simple server, what else is on here? Tools. Okay, it connected as well. I got a 501 unsupported method. It wouldn't let me put a directory. but the command still works. And it would have accepted with the simple HTTP server. This is a built-in module for Python, so you can use the one that they created in the instructions that I've got here is shell.py, or you could just use the simple HTTP server. Both would work, and you upload the file. I don't think I'm giving away too much saying that if it's in the labs here, you're going to get tested on it. So do you need to be able to know how to do this? Yes. Okay. That's 3 labs. I don't want to start another lab and run over at 10 o'clock. Gerald Auger is doing First Things First over on Simply Cyber. I want you guys to be able to make it over there because I know a lot of us are part of that community as well. It's the same community. It's just a different channel. So from here, anyone have any more questions? That's 3 labs down. I'll stop this lab. I think I could probably do this in a couple more weeks. Burp Basics, we'll do that next week. And that's prereqs. We need to make this navigation easier. Kills me. But I'm not a web dev. Do scanning and fingerprinting. That'll go fast. We've kind of already done a little bit of that. Nessus is fairly straightforward. That's a great lab. We'll use Dirbuster and do some cross-site scripting and SQL injection. I am recording those for the updated course tonight. They are similar labs, but they're also new. And then we'll do some brute forcing, online and offline. Do some null session with SMB, some art poisoning for man in the middle. Utilize some Metasploit for exploitation. This is where there's a lot of labs. And we'll do these black box. I think that'll take us through a couple more weeks. You'd be surprised how much we can hit. You might have noticed that there is a whole section of Pentester Student, this penetration testing prelim skills and programming. This is good, but I'm not a computer science teacher. And the lab here kind of requires you to go through all of this and practice a lot on your own. It's not perfect. We're going to have a whole separate course walking you through things. You're here, you're at Cyber and Security. So tune in Tuesday nights and ask Brent how to do Python. He is teaching that whole study session. And if he leaves off at a certain point and you're like, well, but how could I use this for hacking? Then I might jump in on some Tuesdays or just take over at that point down here for a couple episodes. We can set up, some sockets. We can set up some servers. We can upload some files, do reverse shells, some buffer overflow. Yeah, I said it. I don't know if you're still in here, Callie, but we'll do buffer overflow later. But these are not bad. You can learn good stuff. It's just, it doesn't have the hands-on that I enjoy. Other things that we're going to do. We're going to have some giveaways. So I've got a contact at Pact, and I've been getting books from them. They send me books. I read them, and I review them and write about it in a few different places and post about it. Well, they want to send you some books. So I've got, I think it's going to be this one, Cybersecurity Leadership Demystified. Next week, I am going to give one of these away. So we'll run a giveaway. You have to be in the US, and Pact will mail it to you. Mail you this book, not this one, but the exact same thing. So that's happening next week. Yeah, Chris, we got to figure out the bot, and you're gonna have to get addresses and stuff. That'll be fun. Yay, modding. There's also possibly the opportunity to give away some Pact 1 month subscriptions. So you can go into pact.com and read any of the ebooks by Pact for a month, which covers a whole lot. The next book after this one that Pact wants me to review is a CASP Plus book. And so I'm going to read through that. I'm probably going to take the CASP exam and just use that as my study guide because it's got questions and everything in it. And I'm going to use that and topics from the book to discuss here and walk you through some things. So get up for that. When we finish the PTS walkthrough, we'll be discussing topics from CASP, which is a security practitioner. It's the upper level CompTIA cert, and I'm not teaching a CompTIA class. I'm going to use some of the concepts from a book I'm reading to lead discussion here. Also, looking at bringing on some individuals who have made this recent journey, who have started in cybersecurity recently, like within the last year, and are now in cybersecurity roles. Bring them on, see, hey, proof in the pudding. What did you do? How did you get your job? And you can ping them with your questions of, okay, so what would you want to know? If you've been in sub chat, you probably are already talking to these people and know a lot of the answers. But if you haven't, if you're curious, if you want to know, show up for those interviews. So I know it's going to be most of you guys who are actually in the chat right now. So I'll reach out later and figure out interview times for that. Is there any questions from you all before we head off? You can take a little break and jump in to first things first. Nothing? All right. Then we will call it a stream. I had a lot of fun. The Roosters really enjoyed you all. And you all rock. So have a great day, and I'll see you in sub chat.